Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you don't mind, subscribe. Well, it's Tuesday morning, I think a minute, and it's about 15 after 3, or thereabouts, actually 3:14. I just checked the weather, and it's 83 degrees. No, I've been here a long time, and in the city, when Grace and I lived in the city, we experienced similar temperatures, but not near this much. But here where we live at this house, since I've lived here 7 years, our morning temperatures have never been anywhere close to this. Usually it's in the mid to lower 70s. Now what do I know? I'm just a dumb old hillbilly. Now we got that behind us. Tell you a little story. I mentioned it a little bit in one of my videos a few days ago, but I didn't get into much detail. Some things I do here to help our community is I try to teach people different things. I want to use this one example. My neighbor and my helper and everything, that he's my go-to person for about everything. So he acquired the motorcycle of his brother that got killed on it a few months back. And he didn't acquire it. And what they're trying to do is to get it back into running condition so they can sell it to pay some expenses. Because they had a person that was willing to buy it if it would run, regardless if it did smoke or whatever. Well, he'd been trying to get it running for quite some time. I was sitting here enjoying some ice water and watching, I think, of Netflix at the time, Enterprise. And he brings the cylinder head, lays it on my table, and shows me the exhaust valve is stuck open. Then his wife, because he doesn't speak any English, says that he doesn't know what to do with it. He can't get it to close. Fortunately, he didn't go abusive with it and try to force it. So what I did, we got us a piece of cardboard and so forth, laid it on my table here. The reason we're using my table so I can have a fan, because it's daytime. Temperature close to mid-90s. And I looked it over, and it loaded with carbon deposits. Carbon had built up from burning oil, and the exhaust valve is the normal one that will stick. So I instructed him that we need to disassemble, get the valve out, and get everything cleaned up. Each step of the way, I showed him how to get the valve out. We got the valve out, and I happen to have some wire brush wheels for my drill, and we persisted in cleaning up the carbon and so forth. And got it cleaned, and I stuck the valve in there, and it went in fairly easy. I had to make sure there wasn't any play in it, and I showed this to him too, trying to educate him on checking things. We also checked the intake valve out too. The disassembly of it, I wish I took a video of it. It's not complicated. If you don't know what you're doing, it's complicated. This is a SkyGo 125cc. And of course, they didn't want to invest any money in it. I told him, I said, you know, what I'm showing you, you can get it running. I said, this is not a fix. It's only a temporary thing. I said, to properly do it by appearance is replace the cylinder rings on the piston, which you would need to hone the cylinder. Because you could tell it's burning oil pretty heavy. Anyway, I showed him how to reseat the valve. This can be done on a temporary basis if the valve face and the valve surface is not damaged, which this one was not. You know, I got some WD-40 and sprayed on everything, and got everything cleaned up and checked the seat, and it's in decent shape. We got a piece of hose that would fit over the valve stem snugly, and we used a drill to spin the valve, and I showed him how to do this. Now, this is not the proper way to do it, but it's a temporary thing. You really need some valve grinding compound to make a nice shiny new seat. Mating surface. Anyway, I showed him, let him do the actual physical thing of doing it, and showing him how lightly he needs to make the pressure. And he done that, and we removed the valve, and I showed him to look at the seat of the valve and also the one in the cylinder head, and make sure it looked like it's making full contact all the way around. And anybody who's experienced this knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, you get a nice smooth finish all the way around. We did the intake valve the same way. And I showed him how to reassemble the valves and put the rock arms in place, and turn the cam to top dead center. It's got a mark on it. And I showed him how to adjust the valves without a filler gauge. Well, I don't have one, and he didn't have one. It's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty darn close, because I've done this many, many, many times. I did look up to see what the valve clearance is supposed to be. They're supposed to be on both valves. One's supposed to, the intake's supposed to be 4 thousandths and the exhaust 5 thousandths. And from my personal experiences, I got a lizard on my belly. I can pretty well guess close. Like I say, it's not accurate, but it will put it to where it will run. And I told him to just reassemble it, and I didn't think about it at that time. So he goes in about 45 minutes to an hour. I was sitting here, and I thought I'd walk out back on my terrace here, and I could hear him cranking on it, and it was not starting. So I grabbed my shoes and I walked out there, and I showed him the basics. Check for spark, which it had. Also, I explained to him, his wife had to interpret for me, that the spark needed to be a nice bright blue, not a red spark. If it's red, it ain't gonna run. and check for compression. Well, we don't have a compression gauge, but you put your finger over the spark plug hole and crank it, and you feel the pressure. So we got compression and we got spark. Well, I put my hand over the throat of the carburetor and had him crank it. You know, it's getting gasoline, but I noticed something a little peculiar. I was getting a little cough back out the carb. I said, now we need to check timing. He looked at me real funny and well, keep in mind his wife's doing the translation. And I showed him. There's two covers on the crankcase that you remove. One so you can get the crankcase bolt for the crank, and one is an eye so you can see the timing mark. And had him remove the cover for the cam gear so we can see the timing mark on it. Then we turned it to the timing mark showed up on the crank, and looked at the one on the cam. Yeah, you're right. It was off. Just enough to where it'd be impossible for it to start. And I showed it to him where the mark is and where the crank is. I said, now we need to get that cam timing correct. So he removes the gear so he gets the chain off, and he turns the cam till he gets lined up on the mark, and then he reinstalls the chain. He got it in place. I looked at him and smiled. I said, no, let's get everything closed up. It will start. And sure enough, fire dried up. That little guy smokes a little worse than I thought it does. It really needs an overhaul. But he succeeded in doing what he needed to do. The motor does run. Now, the moral of the story is, and I know everybody here has probably heard this story before. You give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach him how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. And I've used that for many, since I can remember. I enjoy helping people, but I also like to give them knowledge so they can use it for a lifetime. Now, just so happened, he is eager to learn everything he possibly can. I have showed him many things that I've not talked about here, but it's sad that a person of his skills and his knowledge and eager to learn didn't get an education. And so I've been kind of catering to him, and I've been teaching everything I possibly can. And he is started himself a little repair business with motorcycles right here next to my house. And I've noticed that he stays fairly busy. You know, and it all started out with just like fixing flats. He made him a little air compressor out of an abandoned, looked like a small refrigerator compressor, and it works fine. That'll work. It's a little slow, but that's okay. And he's acquired quite a few tools. He's actually got him a cordless impact and a good collection of wrenches of decent quality. And anytime he runs across an issue, I smile because he always comes to me, and I smile back because I enjoy being able to teach someone things in life that they can use. I apologize for not doing some videos more here. I know I've been busy with our chickens, as you're well aware of. We got, at the moment, I think it's 17 new chicks. And I'm getting the incubator filled up for the next few days. Already got a dozen eggs. We're going to incubate, and we'll try to collect hopefully 30 eggs, and not thereabouts. And get another batch started. So, things are exciting here, and I'm staying busy. And I appreciate everybody. I really do. Thanks to all my new subscribers. And I'm excited about the 1,000 subscribers. It is, thank you, every one of you. I thank you so very much. Now, if I can just get my watch time hours up, that would be very good. So, folks, stay tuned, stay in touch, and we do what we can. Everybody take care now and subscribe.